Hello and welcome to my channel. Say hi to a happy day. In this channel, I would like to share tales and stories I personally picked and are my kids' favorite book stories. Let's enjoy listening while I read to you a story. Briar Rose to the rescue. Oh, drat, Flora said. We're out of wood. No wood? Meriwether asked. But how will we stay warm overnight? Why, with no fire, we'll freeze. Briar Rose smiled at her aunt. She loved her dearly, but Meriwether certainly had a flair for the dramatic. I'll go fetch some more, Briar Rose offered. Then putting on her cloak, she stepped out of the cottage. I'll be right back, she called. Briar Rose didn't have to go far to find wood. By the time she had taken a few steps into the forest, her arms were full. But as she turned to go home, Briar Rose heard a noise. Briar Rose spun around to see her friend the owl perched on a tree branch. Why, hello there, Briar Rose called back. How are you this evening? Ho, ho, the owl called again. He flapped his wings frantically and hopped up and down on the branch. Then with one more hoot, he flew deeper into the forest. Briar Rose frowned. Her animal friends were usually quite calm. It was not like the owl to seem so upset. She hoped nothing was wrong. Setting down the pile of wood she had collected, she followed him. The owl landed on a large oak tree. Briar Rose knew that a family of rabbits lived inside. Her heart pounded. Is something wrong with the bunnies? She asked. Briar Rose knelt down and looked into the hollow tree trunk. The mother rabbit was there, anxiously fussing over her babies. 1, 2, Briar Rose counted. Where's the third bunny? There should be one more. Now Briar Rose knew why the owl had seemed so upset. A baby bunny was missing. Don't worry, I'll find him, Briar Rose promised, and you'll help me, won't you, Owl? Ho, ho, the owl agreed. Briar Rose stood up and looked at the forest trail. The sky was growing dark, but she could just make out tiny paw prints on the ground. Look, she said, pointing at the trail. He went that way. Let's go. Briar Rose followed the trail with the owl flying close behind. But the deeper she got into the woods, the more the trees blocked the moonlight. Soon I won't be able to see a thing, she said. As she spoke, a cloud of fireflies flew up to her. They blinked on and off, lighting up the path. Briar Rose smiled surprise. Oh, thank you, she said. That's much better. The paw prints led to a stream and then disappeared. Briar Rose said. The little guy must have hopped across the stream on those rocks. Briar Rose started to step on the nearest rock, but it wasn't a rock. It was a turtle shell. A sleepy turtle poked her head out of the water. Oh my, Briar Rose said, pulling her foot back. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to step on you. I was just trying to get across the stream. Your shell looked like a stone. Are there any more of you in the water? At the commotion, 4 more sleepy turtles popped their heads and looked around. I'm sorry to wake you, Briar Rose said, but I don't want to step on you by mistake. Briar Rose bent down and peered at the turtles' shells. Now that she knew what she was looking for, she could see the difference between the turtles and the rocks. Thank you, she said as she carefully stepped across the rocks. You can go back to sleep now. On the other side of the stream, Briar Rose spotted the bunnies' paw prints. All around her, the sounds of the forest filled the air. Crickets chirped, tiny wood mice scurried through the pine needles, bats flapped their wings as they swept through the trees. But Briar Rose barely noticed. She was too confused on finding the bunny. Suddenly, two yellow eyes appeared in some nearby bushes. Frightened, the fireflies fled. The owl let out a startled hoot, but Briar Rose walked toward them. "Who's there?" she said. A small red fox trotted out of the bushes. Briar Rose smiled. "Hello there," she said. Briar Rose pointed to the trail of footprints. It had grown so dark that she could barely see them. "I'm looking for a lost bunny. Have you seen him?" The fox looked at Briar Rose confused. Then she began to sniff the ground. A moment later, she turned and walked away. Briar Rose quickly set off after the fox. Suddenly, the owl let out a warning cry and flew in front of Briar Rose. She stopped and looked down. Right at the edge of a cliff, the fox was making her way across a fallen tree to get to the other side. But Briar Rose had nearly stepped over the edge. "Thank you, Owl," Briar Rose said. "It's a good thing that you can see so well at night." Then, following the fox's lead, she carefully walked across the fallen tree. The fox led Briar Rose to the edge of the forest. Ahead, she could see a cottage with a big vegetable garden. "Thank you," Briar Rose called out to her new friend, but the fox had already disappeared into the woods. Stepping out of the forest, Briar Rose headed toward the cottage. The moon shone brightly overhead, and she could easily see the missing bunny sleeping happily in a patch of lettuce. Laughing softly, Briar Rose picked up the bunny and made her way back over the fallen tree, across the stream, and to the hollow tree that was home to the family of rabbits. "Here you are," Briar Rose said, placing the bunny inside the hollow, safe and sound. The bunnies, his mother, brother, and sister were so happy the little bunny was home. They all snuggled up, ready for bedtime. Briar Rose smiled at the rabbits, then she yawned. "Oh my, I'm getting sleepy too. I need to get back to the cottage." Gathering her firewood, Briar Rose returned to the cottage where the 3 anxious ants were waiting for her. "Where were you?" Flora asked. "We were so worried about you," Fauna exclaimed. "We went to look for you, but all we could find was an abandoned pile of wood," Merryweather said. "We thought someone had kidnapped you." "I'm sorry," Briar Rose said. "It was an emergency. Besides, who would want to hurt me?" Now, Merryweather, she's fine," Fauna said. Then turning to Briar Rose, she added, "How about some cake and a nice hot cup of tea, and you can tell us everything that happened." So Briar Rose and her aunts settled in for the night, and the girl told them all about her adventure. The end. I hope you enjoyed listening to the story. Briar Rose to the rescue. Please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to listen to more of our favorite book stories. See you soon!